everyone, this is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Streaming Radio, and I'm sitting here talking with the self-titled Canadian rocker, Mike JB Sky. Nice to have you today, Mike. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Pretty good day today.
Yeah, it's really hot out.
Yeah, it's
crazy
actually
hot.
pretty humid here, yeah. It's rough.
So if I start peeling off clothes, just close the Skype.
Do I have to? Just kidding. All right. Just to let everybody know, I happened upon Mike on Twitter here about a week ago and thought I need to find out who he is. His music's absolutely amazing and just couldn't wait to reach out and possibly get him for some of his music on the station. So we also got him for an interview, so here we go. Mike, can we get a little backstory on you? How long have you been in the business?
Sure. I started off as a drummer, and I played with a few bands, and I actually finished up playing drums with Jeff Healy. From there, I ended up recording with another group in the studio, and during the session, we took a break, and everybody went outside to smoke a joint, and I stayed behind, and I was playing the guitar and just singing away, and I didn't realize they could hear me in the booth, and the producer pulled me aside and said, you know what, you need to be a front man. So, history was written that day. It took me a couple of years to gain the confidence to do it, but I did it. I play multiple instruments, probably about 12 instruments. But right now I'm doing lead vocals and sharing lead guitar.
That's awesome. Now, what other instruments do you play?
Take too long to name. I'll try and be modest here. But what I can tell you is I got signed with Radar Love Records, which the founder of Glass Tiger, Michael Hansen, signed me a couple years back. We released our first EP called Girls Night Out, and recently we just got verified on iTunes and Spotify, so they pulled my album. That will be coming up in the next 2 or 3 days. It will be back up for sale, as well as we just got picked up at Sunrise Music Stores, which is great. We got a great new video called Lone Wolf for my second album. We have 3 videos on YouTube, so you guys can check that out. And we're just going hard and dying to get on tour.
So how old were you when you knew music was what you wanted to do for a living?
You know what? I was about 3 years old, and my folks took me to Florida, and they said we were at a flea market, and for some reason I got away from my mother, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs to find me, and they found me at just at a tools table, and there's a pair of drumsticks, and I grabbed the drumsticks. So they actually bought me the drumsticks, and it all started from there. They bought me a little guitar, and yeah.
That's awesome. What a great story. Now, do you have musical people in your family?
My mom, later in life, she started singing for choirs, and she's actually played bigger shows than I have. She played the Sony Center and a few venues like that. But anyway, before that, my grandfather, he used to teach in the Ukraine for I think 120-piece like just instrumental, like strings and like violins and all that stuff, and he was just amazing.
Awesome. Now I want to get into this briefly because it's just part of your story. Can you explain to the listeners what happened to you here? A few years back, 4 or 5 maybe years. How long ago was that? Your accident.
The first one was in 2010. It's a crazy story. Anyway, so back in 2010, I was T-boned, a really bad T-bone where I shattered more than 30 pieces in my hand. They took bone marrow from my wrist. My knee had locked up, and they had to remove like 80% of the meniscus around the knee. So I was between crutches in a wheelchair for a long time, and they told me I'd never play music again. So I was pretty suicidal, and I just decided to flip it around. And I went from playing 1 minute of guitar a day to 10 minutes to an hour. And then I started hooking up with this female singer, and we put a little band together to get things moving again. And then I was like, you know what, I got to do my own thing, and here we are. and 2 years ago, this is why I stress people not to text. There was an ambulance that went by me, so I pulled my car over. I was at a dead stop, and a lady came behind me and smashed into me at 100K. And so, yeah, I'm still going through that stuff right now. Let's just say after I do my hour show, I pretty much drop dead on stage, but I'll keep going.
Oh my goodness, that's terrible. I mean, at what point in time did you just say, I mean, after this happened, you know, screw what these doctors are saying, I will play again, and I'm going to make it? I mean, how long did that take you to get to that point?
Once I could close my hand fully. It was about 4 months after the surgery. Yeah, I couldn't even hold a piece of paper. It was that bad. They actually replaced it's called the PIP joint, so I got a fake middle knuckle. So yeah, it's like the robotic man now with pins and screws, and it's been tough, but I'm shredding now.
That's all awesome. And that's inspirational, you know, very inspirational too. So that's great. Now you were signed, like you said earlier, to Radar Love Records, which is the baby of Michael Hansen, of course, of Glass Tiger. And he said at one point, and I quote, he wanted to nail down the big one. That must have been absolutely amazing to hear that. How did that all come about?
We were actually, we hardly go out together, but we actually came back from a lunch, and I had my convertible down, he was beside me, and I was just blaring this tune, and he heard the beat, and he said, I gotta go, I got an idea for you. So he actually ran home with it and, you know, wrote the skeleton of the song. I said, I absolutely love it. And then I took it back and, you know, worked a bit of magic into it, and we recorded it. And it's always been a pleasure working with Mike, because in the studio we just get things done and we work, you know, really well together. So, and us saying that's the big one, you haven't seen anything yet.
Can we? For sure. Now let's get into your 5-song EP, Girls Night Out, excuse me. For our listeners, can you give the song titles and the premise to each song?
Well, you really don't want to know. The first song's called Against the Grain, and the actual song's about going that extra mile and pleasing a woman sexually. So, Stateside USA. I was on the phone with Ronnie King. He's a producer for Mariah Carey, Tupac, you know, Offspring, and all that. And he was trying to get me down to sign me, and I chose to go with Michael Hansen. But that day I spoke to him. I was actually in a studio recording this artist, and I was downright blunt with him, saying, your music's good, but you're tone deaf. And I was trying to tell him in a nice way, and he flipped out and he said, well, you write one better. So literally I wrote Stateside USA, which is a huge anthem. It's kind of like a Leonard Skinner, what's that song? Freebird, like. So if you haven't listened to it, check it out. A lot of stations didn't play the song because they thought it was political and, you know, because of Trump, but that's not the case. It's just a fun party song, and I really hope it catches on there in the States. Third song is called Girls Night Out. It's self-explanatory. You know, it's about, you know, women just counting down the hours at work and getting together with their friends and going out and have a great time. Then the fourth song is called Soft Green Eyes. Basically, I was really in love, and she lived in Costa Rica and Toronto, and she wanted me to come back to Costa Rica with her, and I said, you know, I'm married to my music, so I had to, you know, choose between love and my music, and so I wrote this song for her just before she left. And lastly, Beyond the Sky, I wrote for Elaine Larson, which is the world champion of dragster jet racing for that NHRA. And that's just a get high party song as well.
Whatever makes you happy. Now, your vocals put me in mind a lot of Vince Neil back in the day. And while we're on that topic, who are some of your musical influences?
Exactly, Motley Crue, Slaughter, Steelheart, Zeppelin, Ozzy. I can go on and on. Pink Floyd. Yeah.
I could definitely tell Vince Neil had to be in there somewhere, especially on the Lone Wolf video. I thought a lot, but yeah, you have an incredible voice, absolutely. Now, do you do all of the songwriting, or does your band contribute at all?
Up to this point, I've done it all, but I co-wrote that one with Michael Hansen, my last single, Lone Wolf. And from here on out, I'm hoping to write some music with the band, but hopefully it works out, but I can't say for sure. But no matter what, Michael Hansen and I will make sure that they're hits, and they will be hits.
Do you have any challenges as a band?
Not really. I got great members. I have a wicked new guitar player named Azur Trapidovic. He's a Croatian fellow, and he plays like Stevie Ray Vaughan. So it's a really nice mix, a lot different than how I play. I'm more like the Slash guitarist of the band, and he's like the Steve Vai and brings the blues influence to it. I have Jason Hutchings playing drums. He's just the most incredible drummer I've come across. He's crazy. He's loud. He doesn't know dynamics. He's loud. and Scott Everett on the bass. He's just a phenomenal bass player and a great guy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
We should definitely go far together. Before, it was more like hiring musicians to play along with me, and people keep asking about that. Basically, it's a commitment. It's really hard to find 4 guys that are really willing to go on the road, do this full time with families and work. So I think I finally made that happen. But no matter what, Mike Judy's guy will carry on. But I hope they stay with me.
Now, do you ever get nervous performing?
No. No. Sometimes you get the jitters, for the first song. It all depends on the crowd. If there's a huge crowd there, I'm so comfortable. But if you're playing the crickets and people are spread out at the back of the bar, I have a little nerves because there's so much I want to put into the show. And if I can't, participate with the crowd, interacting, then it just kind of throws my night off.
I didn't think you would. You just don't seem to have that kind of nervous energy. I think you rock it on stage every time. Now, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Or where do you hope to see yourself in 10 years?
Opening up for Ozzy Osbourne on his 3rd retirement tour. I hope to do this for a living, and I want that long career like Faster Pussycat. Whether we're playing stadiums or bars, I always want to be around my fans, and I want to tour.
That's great. Now, do you have tours scheduled for the summer, and if so, can you shed some light on them?
Actually, I can't talk about upcoming shows right now because I think we're heading back into the studio. We do have a couple planned, and I believe we're playing the Niagara Music Awards this year in September. But our main focus is finishing up the Lone Wolf album and planning a tour to Japan probably for next year.
But what, out of all the songs you've written, do you have a favorite, and why?
I can't pick a favorite. I've written so many songs. It's hard because you fall in love with your own music, but when it comes to putting them down on the album, you got to be realistic and say, that's not really there. But I guess my favorite song to date is "Soft Green Eyes." Because I was in love, and it reminds me of her every day. So.
Now, if you had the chance to collaborate with anybody, living or past, who would that be and why?
Oh, Prince, 100%.
Yes.
I've never had the privilege to see Prince live, and I can say, honestly, I didn't like all his music, but I appreciate him as an artist, and what an incredible performer and, person from what I hear. I know he had his personality and, his ego, but overall, anybody that can do what he can do deserves all the praise in the world.
Agreed. I really enjoy whenever rockers come out and say somebody like Prince or Michael Jackson or somebody like that it's completely different from what you're used to. But that would be a collaboration, huh?
Yeah. And I want to meet Avril Lavigne one day. Hopefully I can write something with her.
She's still married. Is she still married to them?
I don't think she is.
She was married to Chad Kroeger, right? From Nickelback, I think.
What? I think the singer from Sum 41?
Him too. Yeah, she was with him too. Oh, well. She's pretty. She can get by.
I love her voice.
Yeah,
I think we do well together.
Absolutely. Well, let's go back to your very first band, Black Dawn. How old were you, and what kind of places did you perform back then?
Okay, I can't believe I don't know where you got that info from, but that's great. That band came straight out of high school, and it was my first, all original band. My friend Craig and I put that together. Craig and I collaborated with all the songwriting and that, and we were lucky. We kind of sounded like Queensryche back then, so we were put in the showcase spot right away. So we played places like Nag's Head, the Spectrum, Rock and Roll Heaven, Gasworks, all those places.
Yeah, I do my homework.
That's crazy.
What's the greatest piece of advice you've ever gotten regarding a music career?
I got that from Ronnie King when he was about to sign me. He told me, he said, hang on to what you have, build your career yourself, and hang on, to the most percentage of your business as possible. And by doing that, it just put me on the right path. Like I quit all drugs, quit partying, gave up my social life, pretty much do social media. From the accident point, basically I only have maybe 2,000 followers, and right now we're at 32,000. So it's definitely paid off, and everything's escalated in the right way without making any mistakes. And now I'm to a point where I can be my fucking crazy self again and get people interested in the band rather than be, talking business all the time. It drives me nuts, but it's a big part of it.
Yeah, you gotta have fun with it. You gotta keep it fun, or it's just gonna become not fun anymore, and you're not gonna want to do it. So I understand where you're coming from there. Now, if you could go back in time to where you started your first band, what would you tell yourself to prepare yourself for the future you?
Yeah, what would I tell myself?
Mm-hmm.
I would have got my ass to college and got a business degree. That's for sure.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Now, if people are interested in purchasing your music, can you give us the rundown again on the different places they can find you?
Sure. You can find us pretty much anywhere online, starting with Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, sites like that. If you're in Toronto, you can find us at Sunrise Records. We're in 3 locations and growing. So, yeah. And you can find me basically on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I got a big following on LinkedIn. If anybody's looking for music connections, follow me on LinkedIn. It's going to blow your mind. I got 11,000 people that you can pretty much call up for a job. I'm on Instagram too, just started off on that. I could use more fans on there, so hit me up, Mike JB Sky. Or you can visit my website, my EPK, which is actually being updated right now with the new band, new photos, new bio, but it's www.mikejbsky.com. Or you can look at Raider Love's website, www.raiderlove.com.
All right. Now, I always kind of like to get into a little bit more personal stuff. I mean, it's great about the music and everything, but I like people to understand who you are outside of the music. So, do you have any crazy fan stories?
Oh my God. I can't. You know what? I'll leave that. I'm going to be writing a book in a few years, and it's going to be called Absolute Filth. And I will reveal pretty much everything there, and you can believe what's fiction or fact.
I can only imagine. Remember, yeah. I'm looking at you right now.
No idea. Yeah, I'm blushing.
You should be. No.
Let's just say more than 2 or 3 people are always welcome.
Now, if I were to turn on your Spotify playlist, who would your top 3 artists be right now?
Oh God, I couldn't even tell you. I got so much music, but honestly, I have no idea. You know what? You might find some off-putting. I was listening to Duran Duran the other day. I couldn't believe it because I'm listening to like Fozzy and Motley Crue all the time, and you know,
I love
all
Fozzy
these Jane's Addiction and Alice in Chains and all that stuff. So. But I love it all. There's nothing I don't like.
Do you have any favorite venues?
Favorite venue was in South Carolina. There's a place called the Rock Burger. It no longer exists, but the place was so cool. People just like leave their bras and sign dollar bills there. And Jackal was actually across the street from us and ran in, and he did something crazy when they were banned from Kmart. But when we were playing on stage, the crowd was so into it. They were just running on stage and getting beer funnels and kind of really pissed wasted. I must have had like 11 shots in 4 minutes, and trying to keep track the drum timing going, and they kept soaking my pedals. But titties everywhere. It was awesome. Yeah.
You are hilarious. Now I'm blushing. I hear you have some hair care products. Is that true?
I'm not talking about my hair care products. No, they're not personal hair care products. They're store-bought. I think you got that from Shane on my podcast. I think he's jealous because he's bald.
We'll have to smack him for that one.
We love Shane, though.
All right. Let me find the next question.
And yes, I'm a straight male. and proud of it.
All right. Well, I guess that's pretty much what we've got accomplished today. Is there anything else that you would like to share that we have not covered in this interview?
Not really. I enjoy hearing comments from fans. So if you listen to our videos on YouTube, just leave comments and I will get back to you. Or if you contact me on any social media links, I try my best. I get about 3,000 emails a day and messages. I get back to maybe about 200 a day. So yeah, just contact me. I'd love to hear what you like and what you would like to hear from me. And I'll do my best to make that happen.
I have a request into you for Facebook so we can get you into our station page so that you can, keep everybody in our group up to date on things that are coming up for you and stuff. So be sure you make sure you do that. Well, Mike, it has been a real pleasure talking with you today. We do expect big things from you going forward. We're so excited for you. You are tremendously talented, and we just can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thanks, Smith.
You're welcome. So for our listeners, don't forget to check out Mike's JB Sky's EP, Girls Night Out. And now, is Lone Wolf out right now?
The first single, Lone Wolf, is out.
Okay. All right. He rocks hard and you won't be disappointed. This is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Streaming Radio. Enjoy your day.